What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about what does a railroad conductor really do. But first I want to say, if you're a newer conductor or you're looking to work for the railroad, I would ask you to consider subscribing to the channel, as this channel is completely dedicated to you. It's to help you prepare for school, prepare for the real world, and what it's really going to be like out there. My name is Joey, and I did work for Norfolk Southern as a qualified conductor from 2017 until December of 2020. And when I went to school, there was nothing on YouTube hardly at all. What you're getting yourself into, what it's really like. And if you look at Google Trends or anything, one of the most common questions, what does a freight railroad conductor do? So that's what we're going to talk about today. It really breaks down to, in my opinion, three different sections. Of course, you have your physical labor, what you're going to be dealing with mentally. And then of course, you're going to have the plus sides of like your benefits, the money, the job itself, and all that good stuff. So first, let's talk about the typical day physically. What are you going to do? Now this can vary. It can vary from yard to yard. I hired out of Muscle Shoals, Alabama. I was on the extra board. Most of our days consisted of either stepping onto a train and taking it to Memphis or Chattanooga, or it consisted of working in the yard, or it consisted of working a local. That was pretty much all you did. When we worked in the yard, it was me and an engineer, and we would either go work on the pullback and build trains. We would hang power for crews that are going outbound, going to Chattanooga or Memphis. Or we would work locals. And if I needed to go work a local, I said the conductor was on vacation, they pulled somebody from the extra board, I would go work that local. I'd go switch cars, and or I would be on a train just going and riding and going to Memphis, clocking out, going to a hotel, sleeping for 10 or 11 hours, jumping back up, coming home. So on the physical side, you're going to be doing a lot of switching. Like I said, this really depends on what yard you're in. Some conductors will work strictly in the yard. Some will work in the yard and on the road. Like I said, it varies across the board, but you'll be switching a lot of cars. You'll be spotting rail cars at your locals, either to be loaded or unloaded. You'll be throwing switches. A lot of them are manual, especially when you're working in the yard or you're working a local. They're all going to be manual switches. Even some on the main line, like going to Memphis or Muscle Shoals, all those switches are manual, meaning we would have to step off the locomotive, throw the switch, stand at the switch until our train, sometimes 8,000 feet long, would get in the clear. We'd throw the switch back, lock it back in place, clear our track authority, and take off walking 8,000 feet to the head end. We'll be inspecting rail cars. So you'll be walking and doing your inspections if they've been sitting for a long period of time. I'm going to say changing knuckles. I've never changed a knuckle. With my time at Norfolk Southern, I never had an engineer break one, but it does happen. But there are ways to do it without toting a knuckle for a mile. You could possibly change air hoses. You could change air hose gaskets. You're going to be walking a lot. You'll be climbing up and down rail cars, climbing over rail cars to tie down handbrakes. You'll be riding on rail cars. That's why we do your hang test, or that's why they do your hang test at school. You're also going to be communicating with your engineer, counting down couples, getting 3 steps, doing C102s. But as far as physically, in a nutshell, you're going to be walking a lot. You're going to be throwing switches a lot. You're going to be talking a lot on the radio. You're going to be riding rail cars. That's really what a conductor does on the physical standpoint. It's not that physically demanding. Railroad conductors are not paid for physical labor. Really, it's really not that demanding of a job, unless you work in the yard every day, or if you work a local every day, then you will be walking a lot. But as far as being on the road or on the extra board, you're really being paid for the inconvenience. But mentally, what does a conductor do? The number one thing is you're going to give up time at home. You're going to miss your kids' events. You're going to miss anniversaries. You're going to miss birthdays. You're going to miss holidays. And you're going to spend way more time on the road and gone than you are going to at home. That's the brutal truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's just the way it is. Will it be that way forever? No. Once you develop once you get some seniority, you can bid on jobs, local jobs. You can be at home every day. You can bid on certain jobs that work through certain days of the week, and you'll have a couple of days off. You can stay on the extra board, and you can have your 2 days off every week. But it's not going to be that way forever. That's really what you're being paid for. It's not so much the physical aspect of this job. It's really the mental aspect and the inconvenience is really what it boils down to. I had an engineer tell me that, you know, you live on the railroad and you visit at home. So it really depends on your situation and where you are financially or with kids or family. If this job's for you, if you're okay with being gone, like military guys and girls, or you know, you have a weird situation at home, wherever the case may be, and you're okay with being gone pretty often, then you know this job may be for you. And it may not be. There's nothing wrong with that. But I encourage everybody to give this job a shot, because you will never know if you don't try. And if you even have the slightest thought in your head that, oh man, that'd be a great job, I should give it a shot, and you don't, you'll always have that in the back of your head. Man, I should have went and worked for the railroad to see if I liked it. But you also have the plus sides of working for the railroad. And that's going to be great benefits. It's one of the coolest jobs in the world. It's not that physically demanding. You get to travel and see the country. And you get to make good money while you're doing it. Of course, probably one of the coolest parts of all this, most of your class ones being a conductor, one day you will become an engineer and you will be running a locomotive. That's just the brutal truth of this job. Is you're going to be gone away from home a lot more than you're going to be at home for the first several years until you can get some seniority under your belt. You know, you're going to work in the cold, you're going to work in the rain, you're going to work in the heat, you're going to work in the snow and everything else in between.